today's assignment took a special task force into a dangerous part of the city in Miami, Liberty City.
It happened overnight, and we're now hearing from someone who says he knew the victim. Local 10's Hannah Yashidi.
The homicide detectives here say they are dealing with so much violence and so many cases that the whiteboard that they use to keep track of all of them is filling up.
Miami Police and Fire, how can I help you? Yes, there's been some shooting on Northwest 70th Street and 15th Avenue. What happened? Somebody just got shot up. I did? But my sister got shot too. How many shots have you heard? I heard about 15 shots. I hit the floor when I heard the noise. Then I hear a lot of yelling outside now. Oh my God! Nobody, only the police is here. The ambulance is not here. They're on the way, ma'am. They're on the way. Okay, thank you.
Liberty City works exactly like a government experiment gone catastrophically wrong. While you're paying taxes, this 5.5 square mile neighborhood is racking up 205 violent crimes per 1,000 residents. That's not a typo. 205. The national average? Around 20. But here's what the news won't tell you. This wasn't an accident. Let me put these numbers in perspective. Downtown Miami, already considered sketchy, hits 191 incidents. Overtown manages 142. Little Haiti sits at 83. Liberty City destroys them all with 205. Crimegrade.org literally gives it an F for safety, the worst possible score. Now here's where it gets interesting. They originally called it Model City when they built it. Yeah, you read that right. A model neighborhood that's now 90% African American with a median household income of $20,000, less than half Miami's $45,000 average. Here's the kicker. During peak years, this neighborhood accounted for 20% of Miami's murders while being less than 5% of its population. That math doesn't happen by chance. The local public housing complex, Liberty Square, nicknamed Pork and Beans after its street signs, was supposed to be a beacon of hope for 1,500 plus families. Instead, it became synonymous with open-air drug markets. And yeah, about those kids throwing gang signs in the title, that's not clickbait. The 3rd Street Gang, affiliated with Bloods, controls specific sections through systematic violence. Children here learn hand signals before they learn algebra. But here's what seasoned pros know. Those homicide numbers dropped from 31 inches 2020 to just 5 inches 2024. Sounds great, right? Wrong. Non-fatal shootings still run 50% above the national average. They just got better at not killing people. The violence adapted. And when you see buildings with bullet holes as standard architecture and barbed wire as landscaping, you'll understand why this isn't just another bad neighborhood. This is something else entirely. Ever feel like urban renewal is playing you? Here's what they hope you never discover about the 1,950 seconds, 60 seconds. Overtown African, a vibrant African-American neighborhood, got systematically demolished for highway construction. The government solution? We'll give you something better. That something better was Liberty Square, built as segregated public housing disguised as progress. Federal funding promised model infrastructure. But here's the part they hope you don't know. They deliberately skimped on essentials, created low-income enclaves with zero connection to economic centers, schools, bare minimum funding, jobs strategically located away from employment opportunities, banks. Redlining made buying property or getting loans impossible, a generational trap engineered from day one. The 1,970 seconds recession hit. Deindustrialization wiped out what few jobs existed in nearby areas like Opelika. Unemployment skyrocketed to 20% plus when the national rate was 5 to 7%. This was an economic downturn. It was economic demolition. The only structure left standing? Welfare dependency, exactly as designed. Here's where the system really shows its hand. Decades later, they tried fixing it with Hope 6 mixed income plans. All failed. Now, in 2025, there's a $450 million Liberty Square renovation happening. Sounds promising until you realize it's the same playbook from the 60 seconds. Displace original residents, promise improvement, deliver gentrification. Pro tip, when Wynwood's expansion pushes rents up 200%, that's not market forces. That's the final phase of a 60-year plan. The documents are public record, the pattern is undeniable. They created the conditions, then blamed the victims for the results. And that's exactly how you build a ghetto while calling it progress. The architecture of isolation wasn't a bug. It was the entire point. December 1979. Arthur McDuffie, black motorcyclist, Bok Shea, chased down and beaten to death by Miami police. The autopsy revealed multiple skull fractures. Brutal, methodical violence. May 1980, verdict comes in. All officers acquitted completely. But here's what the textbooks won't tell you. That acquittal didn't just spark riots. It detonated years of systematic abuse, compressed into 72 hours of absolute destruction. Day one, Liberty City exploded. Fires, looting, rage that had been building for decades, finally finding release. The numbers tell the real story. 18 people dead in 3 days. That's more casualties than many small armed conflicts. Over 1,000 buildings destroyed through systematic arson. We're talking commercial infrastructure completely devastated. 400 plus arrests. Millions in material damage. This wasn't a protest, it was urban warfare. Here's where it gets worse. Insurance companies immediately fled. Left destroyed buildings with zero coverage. No business wanted to return to what media had branded a war zone. The little remaining economic life that existed, gone overnight. The national image cemented. Liberty City equals violence. That perception became permanent. Think about this. Buildings riddled with bullet holes became standard landscape. Not repaired, not demolished. Just there. Permanent reminders of 3 days that changed everything. The kids who witnessed 1,980, they raised the next generation in this post-traumatic environment. Trauma became hereditary. The real legacy? Liberty City never recovered to pre-riot economic levels, ever. The violence of those 72 hours initiated a cycle that continues 45 years later. That's the difference between a riot and a turning point. One ends, the other echoes through generations. The 1,980 seconds cocaine flood wasn't random. Miami became the primary port from Colombia, and Liberty City's location made it perfect for distribution north through Florida. Then crack cocaine hit, specifically targeted impoverished black communities. The epidemic didn't just arrive, it was delivered. Here's what the professionals know. The Miami Boys, an organization based in Liberty City, controlled massive distribution networks. We're not talking street-level dealing. This was industrial-scale operation. Pork and beans transformed into a 24/7 open market. And the numbers? Homicide rates hit 100 plus per 100,000 residents compared to the national average of around 5. The term drive-by shooting became popularized because of Liberty City's frequency. Daily documented territorial wars. But here's the insider secret nobody mentions. Kids got recruited as lookouts and distributors. That's where those gang signs started. Children as young as 8 learning hand signals because it was the only employment available for thousands. The Cocaine Cowboys era brought military-grade weapons. A K-47 seconds, Uzis, arsenals that outgunned local police. This wasn't street crime anymore. It was paramilitary operation in American soil. The violence wasn't hyper, it was systematic. Executions in broad daylight. Public displays of power. But wait, here's the part that really exposes the system. The war on drugs response didn't stop the flow. It just incarcerated generations. Mass imprisonment cycles trapped entire families. Fathers in prison, children raised by streets or foster care. Incarceration rates 8 times higher than white Miami populations. And here's the kicker. Criminal records made legitimate work impossible, forcing people back into drug trade. The economy that crack created didn't end with the 90 seconds, it just evolved. The weapons stayed, the gangs institutionalized, the children who learned those signals, they're teaching the next generation right now. 40% living below poverty line, not during recession, not temporarily, consistently, for decades. That's Liberty City's baseline. Median household income sits at $20,000, less than half Miami's $45,000 average. Unemployment hovers at 15%, triple the national rate. But here's what they don't tell you. This isn't economic struggle, it's economic design. Food deserts mean no supermarkets, only corner stores with inflated prices. Residents pay more for less. The poverty tax is real and calculated. Schools, graduation rates hit 20% in some years. Not because kids are dumb, because the system's rigged. School funding per student runs 60% below areas like Coral Gables. Building deterioration, teacher rotation, zero extracurricular programs. After school ends, kids hit the streets because there's nowhere else. That's when gang recruitment happens. The health crisis nobody discusses. HIV divided by AIDS ravaged Liberty City hardest in the 92nds 2000s. Highest rates in Miami. Teen pregnancy numbers feed the poverty cycle, children raising children in identical conditions. Now opioid overdoses lead 2022 statistics. But here's the real kicker. Medical access is non-existent. Hospitals closed, clinics scarce. Infrastructure tells the story, media won't. Streets cratered with potholes ignored for years, constant vehicle damage residents can't afford to fix, water contamination reports showing lead and other toxins, electricity cuts out regularly without compensation, drainage systems collapsed, every storm floods homes into uninhabitable conditions, pro-move the experts use. They document everything, every broken promise, every failed program, every budget that went to contractors instead of community. Because here's what 60 years of data proves. The poverty isn't accidental. It's maintained, necessary for the system to function exactly as designed. And that's how you keep 25,000 people trapped while politicians claim they're working on solutions. Homicides dropped from 31 inches, 2020 to 5 inches, 2024. Sounds incredible, right? Here's the trap. Programs like Circle, violence interruption initiatives, are temporary. Funded today, gone tomorrow. Meanwhile, non-fatal shootings stay 50% above average. They just improved at not killing people. The violence didn't decrease, it adapted. Property crimes exploded to compensate. Robberies, assaults filling the gap. But headlines scream murder rate down while ignoring everything else. That's the game. Sell the improvement, hide the reality. Now check this. That $450 million Liberty Square renovation, pure displacement economics. Mixed income units is code for pricing out original residents. Families who've lived there decades forced out when rents jump 200%. Wynwood's expansion pushes from the south. Artists and hipsters calling Liberty City the next frontier. Gentrification disguised as progress. Again, here's where it gets modern. Gangs adapted to social media. Territorial disputes now happen on Instagram and X. June 2025 2, missing person case in Model City, directly linked to social media threats. Kids recruited online before adolescence. Violence filmed and posted for street cred. Digital evidence of crimes plastered everywhere. Reddit and X users in 2025 still warn. Verifiably dangerous. Compare Liberty City to Coral Gables. Completely different worlds in same city. Complaints about crime out of control, despite official statistics claiming improvement. Miami PD's crime map? Liberty City hotspots still prominent. The insider truth seasoned observers know. Statistics lie through omission. Count murders, ignore shootings. Celebrate intervention programs, ignore their temporary. Announce renovations, ignore displacement. The 2030 prediction might not be the worst anymore. Those are expectations so low, they're insulting. While 90% of people believe the progress narrative, you now know the numbers behind the smokescreen. 60 plus years of urban experiments on the same population. See the pattern? Promise, minimal investment, failure, new solution. Repeat. But here's what nobody wants to admit. The system needs places like Liberty City to function. Think about it. Without war zones, how do you justify militarized police with billion-dollar budgets? Without constant criminal supply, how does the incarceration industry survive? Liberty City produces exactly what the system requires. It's not broken, it's working perfectly for those who profit. The racial valve effect, concentrating black poverty, prevents dispersal into wealthy areas. Keep it contained, keep it controlled. Federal grants for infrastructure, $10 million to fix $500 million in damage. The math intentionally doesn't work. Violence interruption programs function until funding ends. Then the cycle restarts. Here's the brutal truth about those bright spots. Barbershops, local artists, soul food restaurants. They survive despite the system, not because of it. Culture persists through resistance, not support. Every success story is an exception proving the rule. Tech training programs, 50 slots for 5,000 plus kids. The PR looks good while accomplishing nothing systemic. Your role in this matters more than you think. Every time you accept improvement narratives without questioning numbers, you perpetuate the cycle. The real question isn't how to fix Liberty City. It's why, after 60 years of failure, we're still pretending the goal is fixing anything. Children learning gang signs at 8 years old isn't a bug. It's proof the system works exactly as designed. 205 violent crimes per 1,000 residents, $20,000 median income, identical failed policies for 6 decades. That's not incompetence. That's blueprint execution. And while you read this, another kid is learning those hand signals because it's the only community structure available. That's the truth, connecting every data point they hope you never piece together.